Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back to my very wet and rainy Florida garden. So in today's video, we are picking up right where we left off last week. If you remember, we did a huge garden cleanup here in my front yard garden. We removed a lot of the flowers that were spent for the season, a lot of the stuff from earlier this spring, including my super tunias and my super beanas. We also pulled out my zinnias, which weren't looking too great. And then we did a rejuvenation prune on my garas and my salvias. I'll show you in a minute, they are bouncing back beautifully. But in today's video, we will be planting up my entire front garden space here with a ton of heat and humidity loving summer flowers. So let me spin you all around and we'll get started. All right, so jumping right into today's video, I wanted to give you a sneak peek at all the beautiful plants I picked up for today's project. You can see all these plants here, I've got them lined up. There's lots of pinks, there's some purples, some whites, and even some yellow tucked in here toward the back. So quickly looking at the work area for today, if you remember from last week's video, we completely cleared out my front flower beds. So you can see I've got big pockets, big empty spaces that need to be filled in with beautiful plants. I want to put some in here. Also I need to pack a lot in right here. I want to put some on either side of my Adirondack chairs, maybe some in the center. And then I really want to pack out this area with some beautiful, colorful flowers. If you remember, I mentioned that I was taking inspiration from my front porch seasonal flower bed up here. These are all tried and true, heat-loving, humidity-loving flowers. I've got paintus in here, which are these ones here. There's Terranias. I've also got some vincas, which are these ones here. There's some white vincas over here. There's garas. You can see this little bloom here. A lot of the blooms got knocked off in the rain. I've also got some cleomes that are making a comeback. They are being smothered out by the sweet potato vines back here. Over here, I kind of mimicked those same plants on this side of the walkway. So like I said, this was kind of my inspiration. I made a video earlier this spring about heat and humidity, loving flowers that are perfect for the Florida climate. And as you can see, these plants are looking gorgeous. Their glossy leaves and their blooms just really make any front yard inviting. So as far as the plants that I picked up for today's project, you can see I've got some more garas. These ones are in bloom. They've got a lot more flowers than the ones over here because I had protected them from the rain. They were tucked in underneath my carport over here while the storm passed. I also picked up some Terranias. These ones, they're in person, they're more of a purple color, but on camera, they look more pink. But these ones are definitely purple in person. So here's kind of the pink variety. You can kind of see the side by side. I think they look a little bit more purple now when you see them next to the pink ones, but similar to the pink ones on the right. You can see the purple ones on the left. They have a white throat and they've also got a little hint of yellow. These plants are amazing in the Florida summer. They just perform so well. You can see this was one plant that was planted a few months ago and it is easily 12 inches by 12 inches. The other plants that we are going to be using are these vincas, which again are very similar. You can see I've got these pure white vincas. These ones don't have the hint of kind of pink in the center. You can see how this one, or these ones rather, have that little hint of pink in the center. But these plants, this right here is one vinca plant. So it's easily 18 inches by 18 inches, or maybe 12 inches, 18 inches by 12 inches. It's got a much wider spread. And then I've also got some cone flowers. Actually, there's a little pollinator landed here, getting her fill. So actually, Lena, if you're watching, you had suggested in last week's video that I pick up some coneflowers for my garden. And when I went to Lowe's to go buy flowers yesterday, lo and behold, the first thing that caught my eye were these beautiful coneflowers. They're so gorgeous. I love their pink blooms, and I love their centers, these cones here where they get their name. They're very orange and yellow, which ties in perfectly with the yellow lantanas that I also picked up. You can kind of see this combination here. I think the yellow lantana really helps these coneflowers stand out, or the centers of the coneflowers stand out. So all in all, I've got 5 different plant varieties here, and I am going to pepper them throughout my front landscape. So there's a little bit of, similarities with the plants that I've already got in my front porch seasonal flower bed as far as the kind of pink and white combination, but I'm also introducing some purple and yellow. So let me throw you guys all up on the tripod, and I am gonna get to placing these plants. I don't really have a plan. I just bought all these plants, and I'm going to just put them all throughout the front landscape here. Also, an update on my front lawn. It's not doing good. A lot of the sod plugs have rooted in, but for the last 3 weeks, everything kind of got stunted. And lo and behold, I think I made a short, or I mentioned it in one of my shorts this week. I was doing a little troubleshooting and found out that this sprinkler head here was broken underground. So there was no water pressure in my irrigation system, and so my lawn wasn't getting watered. Therefore, my plugs weren't getting watered. So we lost like 3 weeks. I'm glad I solved the problem, but I had to come in here and you can kind of see all the dirt, dig up this whole area, redo the lawn sprinkler. So that's just a quick update on the lawn. And for those of you who are new here, apologies for how terrible my front lawn looks. This is the worst it's ever looked. And my hope is to get it back to good by the end of summer. So today's project, though, will hopefully divert people's attention from the lawn here and up to the beautiful flowers that are gonna totally frame out my entire front landscape. So let's get you guys up on the tripod, and we'll place all these flowers. So there we go. All of the plants have been placed. You can see them all resting neatly in the flower beds. So I meant to go over the amount of plants that I used for this project before I placed them, but better late than never. So for the lantanas here, these yellow lantanas, they came in a pack of 6, and all 6 were just under $11. The garas, these ones here, I want to say they were like $8. Yeah, I was gonna say 10. No, they're actually $7.98. The white vincas here, they came in a flat of 18, so I got 36 total because I had 2 flats. Each flat was $25. The Terranias, these ones here, I had 2 flats of 12, so 24 total, and they were $1.98 each. And then the cone flowers, I had 6 of them, and each one was just under $9 for these beauties. So now, just a quick walk around. I did mess with the placement just a little bit. You can see over here, next to the roses, I have a lantana here, a lantana in the back, and then a handful of the white vincas to put toward the front. The lantanas have a nice mounding growth habit. They'll get about 18 to 24 inches tall and wide. You saw the vincas, they'll get, roughly 12 inches tall and maybe 18 inches wide. Over here, I tucked in a coneflower right here in front of the giant bird of paradise. And then I've got just a whole, menagerie of the Terranias and the vincas in the front. Put a handful of Terranias and vincas there. Over here, I've got a coneflower in the back, which those will get, 24 to 30 inches tall. Let me look, actually. It says 30 inches by 18 inches wide. So these ones will have it'll be a nice tall focal point in the back. And the step down, I've got the lantana here, and then I'm gonna surround them with the vincas and the terranias. And then over here, similar, we've got the coneflower here in the back, vincas and terranias. We've got the pink gara here, and then the vincas and terranias. Right here, I've got one of my salvias, which we pruned last week, and you can see all the beautiful new growth on this plant. It's taking so well to the rejuvenation prune. So I figured having some of the pink garas next to it would look great. I also have a white gara right here, which we pruned. You can see this one is also putting on a ton of new growth since we cut it back. And then my other white gara is right here, which also has a ton of new growth. Coming around, I'll go the long way past my mess. I've got a bunch of vincas and terranias here. There's a gara here in the center of the Adirondack chairs with vincas in the front. And then this bed I'm really excited about. I've got the coneflowers on either side, and then a gara here in the middle, and then just a hodgepodge of all the other plants, including a lantana right here. So yeah, I'm excited about this placement. You did see me kind of mess around with the gara placement here with the coneflower. I wanted it kind of to go coneflower, gara, coneflower, gara, coneflower. So I think I solved my my little placement problem that I was having when I was placing all these earlier. But overall, I think it looks so great. So as far as the cost, again, I told you kind of individually how much each of these cost. In total, I spent just under $200 on these plants, which isn't terrible considering I'm going to be able to totally pack out my front yard garden. Oops, I almost rolled my ankle here at the edge of my driveway. I'll be able to pack out my front yard garden with beautiful plants, and in about 4 to 6 weeks, it's going to look very similar to how this front flower bed looks. So yeah, again, for under $200, it's not too bad. So as far as planting everything in, we're going to use the plant tone fertilizer here, and I've got my shovel. So let me get you guys back up on the tripod and we'll get going. So there we go. Everything is all planted in. I think this turned out so beautifully. I absolutely love this color combination, the whites, the pinks, the yellows, and even the purples. I am out of breath. That was so much work. I love this little flower bed here. And I don't know if it pops out on camera, but in person, those echinacea coneflowers look stunning in the garden. And then the white and the purple really provide a nice contrast with all the other plants in these flower beds. I just love how this turned out. It looks so beautiful. I'm so excited to have these heat-loving and humidity-loving summer annuals here in my garden. Actually, a lot of them are perennials. The coneflowers are perennials. The garas are perennials. The vincas can be perennials. They are prolific self-seeders. Lantanas are perennials. And then the terranias also do a really good job at self-seeding. You can see the rose flower bed looks amazing as those yellow lantanas really fill in. We're gonna have a nice, two nice mounds of yellow color. Also, these iceberg roses are in full bloom this week. Last week, I think I showed you they just had flower buds, but you can see how beautiful they're looking. Disregard my dirty hand. But yeah, they're looking so good. Even some of the zinnias that I left for the butterflies are looking beautiful. I love how this bed turned out. Again, all of these plants are really gonna mound out. They've all got a beautiful mounding growth habit. And then coming over here, I think I finally dialed in this flower bed. It's looking so beautiful, and it's only gonna look better as these plants mature. You can see I've got some of the sweet potato vine. I pointed that out last week. I had propagated those from cuttings from the sweet potato vines that are up here in the front porch seasonal flower bed. Again, in a matter of no time, my whole front yard is gonna look as full as these flower beds look up here closer to the house. So really quick, as far as watering, I did not water any of these plants in. Let me talk over the car as it drives by. I did not water any of these plants in because we had a ton of rain today. My entire front yard garden is hooked up to drip irrigation. And right now I have it going for 20 minutes twice a day. It goes off in the early morning and then again in the early afternoon to really give these plants a good drink of water because it has been so incredibly hot here. On weeks when we have a ton of rain, which it looks like the next few days, the forecast, we've got a lot of rain in the forecast, I'll turn off the drip irrigation. But lately it's just been so dry here in Central Florida. I've had to rely on my supplemental drip irrigation system. And then really quick, I did want to talk about fertilization. So all of these plants in my front yard, all these annuals, part of the I guess recipe for success to get your flower beds looking like this is you gotta use water soluble plant food once a week. I come in here, I mix this in my watering can. I actually posted a video earlier this spring on my entire fertilization routine, which I'll link in the video description for reference. It includes this Proven Winners premium water soluble plant food. I'll use it on all of these plants that I just planted in, again, once a week when I'm out here fertilizing all of my summer flowers. That really, like I said, is part of the secret to having a full, lush, beautiful garden. I'll be sure to link this in the video description as well. It can be pricey if you buy it off the Proven Winners website. I want to say it's like, I don't know, 20 bucks or more, but I found it at on Home Depot online, homedepot.com, for like $11. It does sell out quick, but I periodically check it, and it is for sale. So I'll throw that link for Home Depot in the video description so that you can get your hands on some of it. But again, another kind of slow pan of the front garden. I'm so excited about this transformation. It's gonna look so beautiful when it fills in. And I hope you've enjoyed this little transformation video from last week to this week. This whole entire front yard has really, really turned a new leaf. It is a fresh start for summer. So that's gonna do it with today's video. It was another great day in the garden. I'm a sweaty mess. I need to go inside and cool off. I've probably got dirt all over my face, but hopefully I've inspired you to add some beautiful, colorful flowers to your summer garden. Again, I highly recommend the flowers I used in today's video, especially if you live in a hot, humid climate like I do here in Florida. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hang out with me in future videos. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.